So this is interesting because yesterday was August 5th, Feast of Our Lady of the Snows, the birthday of Rachel Joy Scott, victim of Columbine. And here we have this image of the doors of Eden and yet snow and the moon. And Leah was the moon in Joseph's prophetic dream of son being Jacob. And I was trying to imitate Jacob's loyalty to Rebekah, but the doors of Eden, Max Eden, helped Meadow's father, Andrew Bullock, write this book here. And the video about Rachel Scott's birthday, it didn't finish uploading until the 6th of August, which is the anniversary of Hiroshima, which happens to be the birthday of Meadow's beloved brother, Hunter Bullock. And Meadow Jade and Rachel Scott are pictured next to each other with a list. If you go to certain websites, or you go to Google Images, Google Rachel Scott next to Meadow Jade Bullock, all the things they had in common, and it'll show up. There's images of them on the same page, and they were two different shootings, and I was trying to imitate Jacob, and in the process, I thought I had met literally someone who was prefigured and overshadowed by Leah of the Old Testament. And Leah of the Old Testament is where the Levitical priesthood and the Messiah and people like Mary and Moses and, the papacy, the church and stuff like that come from Leah's bloodline. And as a result of jumping off that 3-story building, I spent 10 weeks in a wheelchair so that I move into room 17 the day 17 die and 17 are injured in a Parkland shooting. And of those victims, there's one victim that had a lot to do with the martyr Rachel Scott, whose name is Meadow, and Leah means meadow. Leah and Rachel were the brides of Jacob. And if I had not moved into that room 17 on the 5th floor, 517, the day that I did, I would not have Googled that shooting, and Meadow has been like a messiah to me. The personal relationship people have with Jesus Christ, she's helped me out so much, and I'd be doing so much worse if I did not have that relationship. And also, it was a Parkland shooting, and Parkland was the shooting that John F. Kennedy died in, and I jumped off the building over someone who's Leah, named Leah, also can mean meadow, one of the definitions of Leah, and born anniversary of John F. Kennedy's assassination. And this July 13th, Donald Trump almost shared the fate of John F. Kennedy. And I can show you, someone earlier gave me a shirt that has the name Trump and Kennedy right beneath it shortly before that shooting. And this can't all be happening by chance, but if you notice, the doors of Eden, yesterday was Feast of Our Lady of Snows, Rachel Scott's birthday. There's the moon and Meadow Jade, middle name Jade. The Jade Rabbit was the moon rabbit. The Jade Emperor put the moon Jade Rabbit on the moon, and the Jade Emperor instituted Valentine's Day, and the Parkland shooting was a Valentine's Day shooting. So God only knows, we shall see, but this cannot all be in my imagination. So if you have anything helpful to offer. Oh, and this is also interesting. I saw something where to get God to, Meadows an attorney, so she fights for the salvation, universal salvation of all souls, and to not that God would stop letting monsters torment us and torture us and tempt us, and that God would stop tempting us with forbidden fruit and punishing people for sins of Adam and Eve. And that he would let people that are like her, like a good mother bear. She died trying to shield somebody from bullets. She was shot 4 times, and then she walked over to somebody and was using her body to try to shield them from bullets with Congressional Medal of Honor type courage without trained for that high-stress situation. He returned to shoot her 5 more times. 4 separated by 5, 45. The number for Trump is 45, and she was wearing it. Her father was criticized for wearing a Trump shirt that he had put on the morning before that for a campaign that he was working on. But 45 is what is another term for Trump. And the Trump card takes all the other cards of a different suit on the table, and she's like my messiah, female messiah, taking any other type of messiah on the she trumps any other messiah. She's just a way better messiah, and she laid down her life as a shield. And Rebecca shielded Jacob. She said, "Let the curse and punishment for Jacob's sins be on me, not on him." And that's I try to be Jacob, because Jacob, his spirituality was of divine femininity, devotion, and loyalty to a woman, telling him to break multiple of God's commandments, steal the greatest blessing. Blessed are those who bless Jacob, cursed are those who curse him. In and through Jacob all shall be blessed. And then he goes on to get in a fight with a man who turns out to be God, and it also says angel, and you can be all three at the same time, an incarnation of God, angel, man. And it says, "You have fought with God and you have won. Your name is now Israel," which means contender with God. And Meadow is a descendant of Jacob on both sides. So yesterday, what I uploaded of Rachel's Tears, and then finding this book, and I knew it was somebody didn't just leave it there and to come back to get it because of how soaking wet it was. John F. Kennedy started the Apollo program, so he died at the Parkland shooting. This was a Parkland shooting in Florida, to get us to the moon. He said, "We go to the moon not because it is easy. We climb the highest mountain or hill, not because it's easy, but because it's difficult. We go to the moon because it is hard. We do these things because they are hard." And so, I think Leah is the moon. I love Leah, the moon goddess. That is what somebody told me when I came out of a out of an operation. It actually was not surgery, but it was putting my arm back into socket, and I had to be put under because they couldn't do it while I was awake. The woman next to me said, she and all the doctors were laughing because when I came out of the anesthesia, the first thing I said was, "I love Leah, the moon goddess." And I didn't have any recollection of saying that. I assume I was talking about Leah from the Old Testament being the moon in Joseph's prophetic dream. And later on that day, that woman, who was actually born the year JFK was assassinated, in December, the month afterwards, Sagittarius, and she said, she pointed, and we were looking. So if it was a hallucination, it was a public hallucination at the moon, and there was something like dark that came down and kind of cut it in half, So it looked like, somebody said it looks like hamburger buns, but what I thought it looked like was it was two lips giving us a kiss, Leah's lips giving us a kiss. And the woman turned to me and said, "Matthew, that's exactly," she knew that what I had said when I came out of the, the procedure, that the anesthesia, "I love Leah, the moon goddess." And then to see that in the sky, she recognized it totally, 100%, as a sign that I was not speaking on my own accord, but speaking something prophetic of what was to come. And Leah is an entity, and Leah is the state, and Leah is like the church, the bride of Christ, Israel, the bride of Almighty God, and Jerusalem is a woman. "Oh, that you would nurse with delight at her abundant breast, drink fully of the milk of her comfort. In Jerusalem you will find your comfort." And I had a vision of Mary, who's called the New Eve, offering, a type of fruit to get God to compromise. Okay, apples to apples, then forbidden apples, whatever. And I went to St. Olave's Church, and I opened. It was actually the feast of St. Andrew, and I opened up the hymnal right up to the New Eve, next to a song, The New Adam, and a bag of Dungeons and Dragons nerds. And so there we have the situation in Eden. We have Adam, we have Eve, and then a dragon, because the serpent had legs before it was cursed to lose those legs and become a serpent. So it would have been more of a dragon. And when Meadow wanted me to know not to contact her father, Andrew, we were playing a game of apples to apples. Oh, and John F. Kennedy visited that church, St. Olave's in Minneapolis, and there's a plaque to John F. Kennedy. And the woman that runs that place is called Mary Kennedy, and she lives in Eden Prairie. And when I was playing a game of apples to apples, Meadow spoke to me because 3 cards were thrown. Sensitive, Florida, and the meaning of her father's name, Andrew, which is manly. And the message was, what happened in Florida is sensitive. Stop contacting my father. Florida sensitive, yeah, and that, yeah. So that was, but he did thank me. I just, it's hard to understand. I have a relationship with souls on the other side, and I needed maternal nurturing and wisdom that could come from a mother grizzly bear. She would do such a better job than the current God that we have, because she would protect her children. And so I vote Meadow Pollock would be in control of God's household and possessions, like Joseph controlled the households and possessions of Pharaoh, and she would distribute his grace if she had control of omnipotence, and not create monsters, and not create evil, and not create hideousness and ugliness, and protect good people and stop things like this from happening. So there's other policies in heaven that need to change, and I believe Meadow is fighting for us. I know she is. She's a great attorney, and that's what Jacob needs. Israel means contender with God, and a good contender needs a good lawyer as well. God bless.